Friends, this video deals with standard costing, a technique of costing used by the business organizations for cost control. Meaning of standard costing and fixation of standard costs are explained here. Standard costing introduction. It is a known fact that cost of a product produced or service provided is ascertained by adopting suitable method of costing, namely unit costing or output costing, job costing, contract costing, process costing, operating costing, etc. These methods of costing, however, are not helpful in exercising control over costs. Control over costs should be exercised because profitability of an organization depends much upon the cost of its product. For exercising control over costs, techniques of costing will have to be applied. One such technique is standard costing. It helps in exercising control over costs. Standard costing meaning. According to the Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of London, standard costing is the preparation and use of standard costs, their comparison with actual costs, and the analysis of variances to their causes and points of incidence. It is a technique of costing which is used to exercise the control over the costs. Now, let us examine the steps involved in standard costing. Firstly, to determine the standard costs. Next, to collect the actual costs. To compare the standard costs with actual costs. To find the deviation or difference called variance. To investigate the reasons for variance. To take necessary corrective measures. Now, here let us examine the determination of standard costs. Before that, we have to keep in our mind that in standard costing, standards are fixed. Later, they are compared with actuals. When comparison is made, we will understand the deviation. Deviation may be either favorable deviation or adverse deviation. Favorable deviation will be in favor of the organization. Therefore, the organization need not worry. But when there is an adverse deviation, the management will have to conduct investigation about the reasons for such adverse deviation. When reasons are known, then efforts are made to overcome such reasons for adverse deviations. In this way, the control over cost can be exercised in future periods. Now, let us see the determination of standard costs. Meaning of standard cost. A target cost which is predetermined and attainable is called standard cost. Say standard cost is a target cost. It is predetermined. Predetermined means determined in advance. Before the commencement of the production, the standard cost is fixed. So, it is predetermined. Further, it is attainable. Attainable means while fixing the standard, we have to see that, or the organization will see that it is reasonably attainable. So, predetermined cost fixed scientifically based on highly efficient working conditions and production and future market trends. Here, scientifically it is fixed. Predetermined, that means fixation of standard in advance of production, and it is fixed scientifically. And while fixing the standard, the basis is efficient working conditions. It is always based on efficient working conditions and efficient production. Further, future market trends are also considered. As already said, it is an attainable cost. Reasonably, it should be capable of being attained. It is not an ideal cost. Ideal cost is one which needs ideal working conditions, ideal management and ideal plant capacity, but they are myth. Therefore, standard cost is not an ideal cost. Further, it is not historical cost. The average of costs of past years may be the basis for standard cost, but not itself, in the sense when we consider average of past several years, cost of past years may be taken as the basis, the average of which is taken as the basis, but itself is not a standard cost. So, while fixing the standard cost, past information will help the management. Further, it is an elastic, in the sense it is capable of being revised or modified. Whenever need arises, the standard fixed should be capable of being revised or modified. Setting of standards. Standards are set for both output and costs. See, output, what should be our production? Standard is fixed for the level of output also, and also for costs. Standard cost is determined distinctly for each and every element of cost. For direct material cost, direct labor cost, fixed overhead and variable overhead. Now, in case of direct material cost, there are two standards, quantity standard and price standard. In the sense, quantity standard is to be fixed and price standard is to be fixed. Nextly, direct labor cost. Here again two standards are fixed, time standard and rate standard. Time standard, the time required to do a job, to complete an operation. Similarly, wage rate. Wage rate is also fixed in advance. So, standard wage rate. Nextly, for overheads. Here in case of overheads, we have fixed overheads, variable overheads and semi-variable overheads. Now, let us consider one by one. Standards for direct material cost. Direct material cost involves two standards to be set. It is already said. Firstly, quantity standard, nextly, price standard. Now, quantity standard. Here, standard quantity of a material or standard quantity of mix of various materials proportion of each in the mix required to make 1 unit of product is to be set. When a product is to be produced, the organization may be making use of one material or two or more materials. When two or more materials are being used, mix of materials, standard for various materials should be fixed. Similarly, proportion of each material in the mix should also be decided in advance. So, standard quantity is to be fixed for each and every material used for our production. So, that is quantity standard. While fixing the standard, we have to keep in our mind some points. Past experience, in the sense the previous year's experience of the organization will help the management. Scientific computation of cost, experiments, etc. will help in setting the quantity standard. Quality of materials to be used shall be kept in mind. Here, the materials quality of materials always will influence the quality of the output. Therefore, what is the grade of materials being used, that should also be decided in advance. Accordingly, the standard is to be fixed. Further, allowance to be given for material waste, scrap, spoilage, leakage, shrinkage, etc. Because some waste cannot be overcome. In the sense, normal waste should be taken into account while fixing the standard. So, allowance to be given in the sense, extra materials will have to be added while fixing the standard for normal waste, for normal scrap or spoilage or leakage, as the case may be. Now, in respect of materials, we have to consider another standard, that is price standard. Firstly, quantity standard, nextly price standard. Price at which material or materials can be purchased is to be set. Here, price of a single material, if single material is being used, or two or materials if we are using, then price of each material should be considered. Therefore, standard for each and every material which are being used should be set. Price prevailed in the past years, in the sense the past experience here also will help the management. Price of the materials which we are using in the past years will help the management in fixing the standard. Now, current prices, the prevailing price is always will be a guide. Further, prevalent market trends in the sense whether there is any inflationary trend or deflationary trend, or price is remaining at constant level. So, the trend of the price of the materials should also be taken into account. Further, experiences of similar concerns should also be based upon. In the sense, The similar concerns in the sense our competitors. Of course, the competitors will not give the secrets, but if we can get such information, that may also be taken into account. Further, economies of bulk buying time, etc., should be given due consideration while fixing the price standard. Because economies of bulk buying, we know that whenever a bulk purchase is made, some concessions are given by the suppliers. Therefore, taking into account the lot of purchase, the purchase lot, purchase size, we have to fix the standard. So, further buying time of material will also influence the standard. So, these should be given due importance. Now, standard cost of direct materials, shortly SCDM, is equal to the product of SQ and SP. Here they have been expanded here. SQ stands for standard quantity of material or standard quantity of materials per unit. So, unit may be either kg or quintal or liter, as the case may be. It depends upon the nature of raw material being used in the production. So, standard quantity of materials is taken as SQ. Nextly, SP stands for standard price of material or materials, again per unit. What is the standard price? The price which has been fixed above, that is taken here. Standard price already fixed of each material being used. So, the product of these two, SQ into SP, will give us standard cost of direct materials. Here per unit we are calculating. Now, let us consider an illustration. If 5 kgs of material M are required to produce 1 kg of product P, see here, name of the product is assumed to be P and material, single material in this example is M. So, 5 kgs of M are being used in the production of product P. Here, to produce 1 kg of product P, 5 kgs of materials are required. Further, standard price is given. Standard price of material M is rupees 4 per kg. Then, what is the standard cost? Standard cost of direct materials per unit of output is equal to SQ into SP. Standard quantity is 5 kgs. Standard price is rupees 4. So, 5 kgs into rupees 4 will give us rupees 20. So, standard cost of direct materials is rupees 20. It means that to produce 1 kg of product P, we will have to spend 20 rupees. 20 rupees is the standard cost. We incur rupees 20 for producing 1 kg of product P. That means 20 rupees are spent for materials. Now, let us consider standards for direct labor cost. Direct labor cost involves two standards to be set. One is time standard, Another is rate standard. Now let us consider time standard. Standard time, that is time taken by an average worker to manufacture 1 unit of product or to complete a job, is to be set. Standard time is to be set. What is the meaning of standard time here? Time taken by an average worker. Average worker in the sense, average efficient worker we may call. He is neither the below average nor above the average. He is neither the most efficient worker nor very less efficient worker. So, average efficient worker, if he is considered, then what time he takes to manufacture 1 unit of product, or if we are considering a job, to complete a job, what is the time taken by such an average efficient worker, that is taken as standard time. Now, for fixing the standard time, we have to consider some points. Trial run. What is the meaning of trial run? By putting an average efficient worker to specific job, we can take note of the time taken by the worker. Further, experiment will also help the management. Time taken to manufacture 1 unit of product or to complete a job can be easily found out. Now, time study, motion study, fatigue study, work study and method study can be adopted to measure operation time or time required to do an activity. While doing a work, it is quite natural that the laborers or workers will be strained. They always need relief, rest. So, that is fatigue study. When fatigue study is conducted, it can be understood. Motion study. Here, while doing a work or a job, an operation, the workers will have to walk here and there from one place to another place in the workplace. So, this is motion study. Work study, the analysis of work, analysis of methods being used, they all help in taking the or noting the operation time or the time required to complete an operation. Further, past experience and experiences of similar concerns may be given due consideration while setting the time standard. Other factors such as efficiency and skill of workers, conditions of work, efficient tools, plant and equipments, etc. should also be kept in our mind while fixing this time standard. Now, time allowance to be given for wastages and contingencies. As in the case of the material wastage, here also we have to consider the idle time, wastage of time which cannot be avoided some time, that is normal waste of time. So, time allowances should be given for wastages and contingencies, uncertainties. Time standard should be subject to revision from time to time to suit the new developments. It is true in case of all types of standards. So, it should be capable of being revised whenever need arises. Now, Let us consider rate standard. Standard wage rate at which worker or workers can be hired is to be set. Here the rate standard in the sense wage rate. What is the wage to be given to workers should be fixed. Here we have to consider some points while fixing the rate standard. Wage rate prevailed in the past years. In the previous years, information will help the management. Current wage rate, what is the wage being paid to the similar workers in other organization? That is, the experience of similar concerns will also help. Then prevalent market trends. The trend in the market for wage should also be taken into account while fixing the wage rate. Now, type of labor required, whether skilled laborers or unskilled laborers, should also be given due consideration. The experience of workers should also be given importance here, because wage always depends upon the experience, the skill or unskill. So, should be given due importance. Nextly, system of wage payment, whether time rate system or piece rate system, which is being followed by the management while making the wage payment, is to be kept in view. So, we know that mainly there are two types of wage payment: time wage system based upon time. Piece rate system depends upon the output produced by the workers. Accordingly, we have time rate system or piece rate system. Which system is being followed by the management should be kept in view. Accordingly, we can compute here standard cost. Standard cost of direct labor, shortly SCDL, is equal to ST into SR. In case of time rate system, standard time into standard wage rate. ST stands for standard time, SR stands for standard time rate. Now, standard cost of direct labor can also be computed if the piece rate system is adopted. That is equal to SO into SR. Here SO stands for standard output. SR stands for standard piece rate. Here SR, either it may be standard time rate or it may be standard piece rate, as the case may be. So, ST standard time, SO standard output. Now, we may consider one example. If 5 hours are specified to do a job and standard wage rate is rupees 4 per hour, then what is the standard cost of direct labor? Here per unit of output we are computing. The standard cost of direct labor is equal to ST into SR. 5 hours are specified to do a job. So, that is the standard time. Now, further 4 rupees, that is the standard wage rate. Here time rate is given. Standard wage rate is rupees 4 per hour. So, 5 hours into rupees 4, that is equal to rupees 20. 20 is the standard cost of direct labor, means to do a job, or we can also say that to produce 1 unit of output, rupees 20 will have to be paid as wage. That is the standard cost of direct labor or direct labor cost. Now, another element is overhead. Standards for overhead cost. 2 points to be considered before setting standards for overheads. Firstly, standard level of activity or standard output. It was said in the beginning itself that standard output should also be fixed carefully. It should be reasonably attainable. Before setting the standard for cost, the management should fix standard output. What should be the output level or level of output to be produced by the organization? So, that is called standard output or standard level of activity. Further, another point to be noted here is classification of overheads. For fixing the standards, we have to consider the nature of overhead, whether it is a fixed overhead or variable overhead or semi-variable overhead. Let us consider one by one. Fixed overheads. As already known to us, fixed overheads remain constant irrespective of the quantum of output within the capacity of the organization. What is the capacity of the organization? The output capacity. Within that capacity, these fixed costs remain constant. For example, rent, insurance, etc. Nextly, variable overheads. These overheads vary in direct proportion to output. For example, power charges, selling commission, etc. They change in a direct proportion to output means whenever output increases, variable overheads will also increase proportionately. Whenever output decreases, variable overheads will also decrease proportionately. In a direct proportion, they will change. Now, another overhead is semi-variable overheads. Semi-variable overheads vary according to output, no doubt, but not in its direct proportion. It means that variable overheads, though change in the similar direction, they do not change in a direct proportion. It means that whenever output increases, the semi-variable overheads will also increase, but not proportionately. Similarly, whenever output decreases, they also decrease, but not proportionately. For example, depreciation. Depreciation depends on two factors. One is time, another is wear and tear. Time is a constant factor and wear and tear is a variable factor. It means that whenever a fixed asset, a machinery for example, is not used, then also depreciation is chargeable. For 1 year, depreciation is to be charged whether machinery is used or not. That is the meaning of time. That is, if depreciation is charged on time, then it is a fixed element, that is a constant factor. Variable factor means whenever machinery is used, depreciation is charged. So, depreciation since depends on two factors, time which is a constant factor and wear and tear a variable factor, it is a semi-variable overhead. So, naturally they will change in accordance with the change in the output, but not in direct proportion. Semi-variable overheads are not separately considered for standard costing purposes. Instead, they are segregated into fixed and variable elements by an appropriate method. So, here for the purpose of standard costing, standards are fixed for fixed overheads, that is fixed element is considered there and variable element is considered with variable cost or variable overheads. So, separately semi variable overheads are not considered. Now, let us see how to fix the standard for fixed overheads. Standard for fixed overheads, here also past figures, that is the information about fixed overheads in the past years, current market trends and information obtained from others. If it is possible to obtain information from others, they may also be considered. They will serve as best guides for setting standard for fixed overheads. Here, standard fixed overhead per unit, how to calculate this? Standard total fixed overheads will be computed first. When we divide standard total overheads by standard output, we will get standard fixed overhead per unit. Here, the total fixed overheads standard for this will be fixed because they remain constant within the capacity of the organization. Within the capacity, whatever may be the actual capacity being utilized, the fixed overheads remain constant. Therefore, standard for total fixed overheads will be fixed. When we divide the same by standard output, we will get standard fixed overhead per unit. Nextly, standard for variable overhead. Here also we have to consider some points while fixing the standard. Trial runs, past experience, current market trends, technical estimates and experience of other people in the same line, etc. are based upon while fixing standard for variable overheads. Now, standard variable overheads is equal to standard variable overhead per unit into standard output. Here, variable overheads are fixed per unit of output. Standard variable overhead per unit, when multiplied by standard output, we will get standard variable overheads. Now, how to find standard variable overhead per unit? Standard variable overhead per unit is equal to standard time per unit of output, that is fixed here. Standard is fixed, standard time required per unit of output. When multiplied by standard variable overhead per hour, that is also fixed in advance. When these are multiplied, what we get is standard variable overhead per unit. When standard variable overhead per unit is multiplied by standard output, which is also fixed in advance, we will get standard variable overheads. Now, standard cost per unit of output can be obtained finally just by aggregating standard material cost, standard labor cost, standard variable and fixed overheads per unit. That is, it is already known to us that cost is the aggregate of different elements. It may be material, it may be labor, it may be overhead. So, in standard costing also, standard cost per unit of output is equal to the standard cost of each element should be taken into account. So, standard cost SC shortly per unit is equal to SCDM, that is standard cost of direct material per unit, plus standard cost of direct labor SCDL per unit, plus standard variable overhead per unit, plus standard fixed overhead per unit. Now, total standard cost of standard output, that is standard output for a period. We will have to obtain in advance, that is standard output. Now, when multiplied by standard cost per unit, that will give us total standard cost. So, total standard cost of standard output, shortly SCSO, is equal to standard output, that is SO, into SC per unit, standard cost per unit. Let us consider an illustration to find SCSO, that is standard cost of standard output. The various standards set are given below. Remember, for our classroom purposes, the standards which are already fixed are given. Accordingly, we have to compute. Various standards set already are given below. SO, that is 1000 units, is standard output. SQ of raw material, that is 2 kg per unit. It means that 2 kgs of raw material are required to produce 1 unit of output, that is SQ 2 kgs. Next is standard price, rupee 1 per kg of raw material. That means to buy raw material, we have to pay 1 rupee, that is standard price. ST, that is standard time, 1 hour per unit, that is to produce 1 unit of output, 1 hour is to be spent, that is standard time. SR, standard rate, 2 rupees per hour, that is if 1 hour is spent for the production, then 2 rupees are to be paid, that is standard wage rate per hour, 2 rupees per hour. VO, that is variable overhead, shortly VO, rupee 1 per hour. If 1 hour is spent, 1 rupee will be incurred for variable overhead. For example, power charge, it is one example. When output is or production is carried on, overhead is incurred. So, if 1 hour is utilized for production, then 1 rupee will be incurred, that is variable overhead. VO is equal to 1 per hour, not 1 per unit, 1 per hour. Now, total fixed overheads, as already said, the standard is fixed in advance as total, that is within the capacity of the organization, at what level the organization is doing. Whatever may be the level of production, within the capacity, fixed overheads remain constant at rupees 2000, it is given. Now, we are required to find SC per unit, that is standard cost per unit, that is for producing 1 unit of output, what is the standard cost. Similarly, to produce 1000 units, what is the standard cost, that is SCSO. We will have to compute. Solution is given here. Standard cost per unit is, firstly we have to compute, is equal to SCDM, that is per unit here, plus SCDL, that is direct labor, plus SVO, standard variable overhead per unit, plus standard fixed overhead per unit. All are considered per unit, is equal to, let us consider, they should be aggregated. SCDM here 2 kgs into rupee 1, that is standard material is standard quantity, SQ is 2 kg, it is given, into standard rate, standard price is 1 rupee per kg of raw material. 2 kgs are required, therefore SCDM will be 2 kg into rupee 1 will be rupees 2. Next, SCDL, standard cost of direct labor, 1 hour is required, it is given to produce 1 unit of output, and wage rate is rupees 2 per hour. Therefore, 1 hour into rupees 2, we will get rupees 2, that is standard cost of direct labor. Further, 1 hour is required and 1 rupee is the wage, the variable overhead per hour. So, 1 hour into 1 rupee, that is the standard variable overhead 1 rupee, and standard fixed overhead 2000 is the total fixed overhead for 1000 units. Therefore, per unit it will be rupees 2. So, standard cost of direct material per unit is rupees 2, standard cost of direct labor is rupees 2 per unit of output, standard variable overhead is rupee 1 per unit, standard fixed overhead is rupees 2 per unit. Totally it comes to rupees 7. That means 7 rupees are to be incurred for producing 1 unit of output. We will incur rupees 7, that is decided in advance of production. Rupees 7 is to be spent for producing 1 unit of output. Now, let us consider how to find SCSO, standard cost of standard output. Standard output, it is given 1000 units. What is the standard cost? To produce 1000 units, what should be the cost? So, it is SCSO is equal to SO into SC per unit. SC per unit we have computed rupees 7 per unit. 1000 units into 7 is equal to rupees 7000 will be SCSO, that is standard cost of standard output will be rupees 7000. Alternatively, we can also compute individually, that is each element of cost can be obtained for 1000 units. So, 2 kgs are required for 1 unit. Therefore, for 1000 units, 2 kg into 1000 units, and rupee 1 is to be paid, that is standard rate of per kg of material. 2 kg into 1000 units into rupee 1 will be rupees 2000 is standard cost of direct materials for 1000 units. Then we will have to add the standard labor cost for 1000 units. 1 hour is required for 1 unit. Therefore, for 1000 units, 1 hour into 1000 units, and the labor rate is rupees 2 per hour. So, 1 hour into 1000 units, 2000 hours into rupees 2. Therefore, 2000 rupees will be total labor cost. Next, variable overhead is 1 hour is required for 1 unit, and for 1000 units it will be 1000 hours, and variable overhead per hour is rupee 1. So, into 1. So, therefore, total variable overhead will be rupees 1000. Nextly, total fixed overhead, it is already given 2000 rupees. Totally here also we will get rupees 7000. It is standard cost of standard output. That means, to produce 1000 units of output, we will have to spend 7000 rupees. This is how standard cost per unit, standard cost of standard output is obtained. Now, let us consider setting standards for sales. Remember, profitability of an organization not only depends upon the cost of its product, but also on the sales that it is able to make. Therefore, standards need to be set for sales also. Setting standards for sales involves two standards, quantity standard and price standard. Quantity standard is to be set for each product. In the sense, the organization may be producing one product or two or more products. Accordingly, it will have to set quantity standard for each and every product which it is producing. Here, past sales, that is sales made by the organization in the past years, orders in hand, current orders, purchase orders in hand, that is the demand, current demand for our product, production capacity of the organization, presence of competitors, etc. should be taken into consideration while fixing the quantity standard. What should be the quantity of goods or products to be sold in the future period? Next is price standard. It is to be set for each product. As already said, the organization may be producing one or more products. Accordingly, price standard is to be fixed. That is, selling price is to be set for each product. Here also, past experience of the organization, current market trends, cost of product, price set by competitors, etc. will help the organization in fixing the selling price. Now, we can compute the standard sales. Standard sales is equal to actual quantity sold into standard selling price. Actual quantity sold, information about this will be obtained after the period, but standard selling price will be fixed in advance. That is the price fixed in advance of production, in advance of sale. That is standard selling price, scientifically fixed. When multiplied by actual quantity sold by the organization will give us standard sales. Nextly, budgeted sales. It is the product, that is when we multiplied the budgeted quantity, also called standard quantity. Budgeted quantity and standard quantity are one and the same. When standard quantity is multiplied by standard price, we will get what is called budgeted sales. Here, another point to be noted is that standard selling price and budgeted selling price have the same meaning. So, budgeted quantity into standard selling price or budgeted selling price will give us budgeted sales. Then actual sales, for comparison purpose, we require actual sales, nothing but the product of actual sales and actual price. So, actual quantity sold when multiplied by actual selling price will give us actual sales. In this way, the standards are also fixed for sales. Comparison can be made with the actual sales and the deviation may be noted down, and if need arises, the corrective measures are taken. Finally, revision of standards. Standards set should be such that they are capable of being revised whenever circumstances demand. Repeated revision, however, is not advisable. Otherwise, very purpose of setting standard is defeated. Whenever there is adverse variation, the revision of standard may become necessary. Adverse variation from actual may call for such revision. Revision of standards demanded by controllable causes is not necessary. Here we have to consider the controllable causes and uncontrollable causes. If when there is adverse variation, if the reason for such adverse variation is controllable, in the sense the management can take the corrective measures and thereby the correction can be made. So, they are called controllable causes. In such a case, revision of standard is not necessary, but sometimes the causes for adverse deviation is beyond the control of the management. They are called uncontrollable causes. So, revision of standards demanded by uncontrollable causes is must. For example, technical innovations, changed market conditions, supply of labor and material, these are all beyond the control of the management. In such a case, it becomes necessary to revise the standard. To summarize, revision of standard is not a regular feature, but while fixing the standard itself, we have to keep in our mind that whenever need arises, it should be capable of being revised. Thank you.